Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee, who's still brain fried from this last storm. But because I've already seen people starting to talk about the others, I want to just kind of put this all in perspective and not get this all, suddenly out of hand here. So let's take a look at what's going on. First off, this is the European, and we're looking at the upper air, and we're going into Monday and Tuesday. So we have this nice ridge in the east. So temperatures are going to moderate some. And here's the next trough, and you notice it's pretty elongated from northeast to southwest, which makes it progressive. In other words, it just kind of moves along. And actually, what winds up happening is that part of the trough, according to all the models do this, splits, where the northern stream here moves on ahead and the southern part of it gets left behind. Now, I want you to look up here, just west of Lake Winnipeg, and you'll already see there's another upper air disturbance that's in that northern jet. So when we move it along, that disturbance dives down, makes a new trough here in the western Great Lakes. So now we're into Thursday morning, and here's that southern stream system. And then when we get to Friday, per the European, these two systems attempt to phase, and this creates a storm that winds up being somewhere off the Carolina, Virginia coast. Now, I want to caution everybody right off the bat. First of all, this is Friday morning, okay, just in terms of the time frame. This is a different setup than what we just experienced. So you can't expect the same tools to work in the same way. Now, of course, we've all been, going on about the fact of how the NAM model works so well when we got into the short range. So let's take a look at the NAM and see what the NAM is doing. Now, the NAM's not going to go out far enough, so it's not going to give us an indicator necessarily of what's happening. And in fact, if you look at the NAM, what it shows is there's that trough for Wednesday morning, excuse me, it's the oatmeal cookies, and then that moves east, but this one's a little different. You can see that next short wave is back diving down through Lake Winnipeg, but it's not as deep as the European has it. And we have the lead system coming through, and then here's the southern one. So we don't know now, if you want to carry this along for the next 12, 24 hours, how it's going to look. We can only guess. But right now, the NAM is not really in the range that we need it to be in order to use it. And I would also point out that because this time around we are dealing with something both in the northern stream and in the southern stream, as opposed to this last event, that the NAM may or may not work the same way. And so we're not going to suddenly say that this is the model of choice just because it worked the last time. Young forecasters that are maybe watching this, you're going to look at both. You're going to look at the model, and you're going to make your conclusions when we get closer. Never necessarily make a pre-conclusion. Just because something works once doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work again. Now, let's jump to the GFS, and I will show you what this one is doing. Now, the thing with the GFS is there's that first part. You can see the southern system gets kind of left behind, and here's the second system right behind it, much like the European. But the difference is that the GFS now on this particular run this afternoon was showing much more of a phase than it was on the prior run. So instead, it makes a difference in how it shows up along the coast. So I'm going to switch off now to another region. So we'll go to so you'll be able to take a look at it. And let's take a look in terms of what it's doing at the surface. Now, this is this late afternoon run where it has a low further west than it did on the prior run, much further west. So if you look on the prior run, there's the low, 1,006 millibars out along 70, already getting ready to move out to the northeast because this northern system here is separate from this. And now on the new run, it's much further tucked in. This one is a little faster, and it's not as strong. Now, there's some cold air here. It's not a lot of cold air. And we're going to have to, this is going to be done with dynamics. There's going to be a little bit of cold air coming in, but it's not going to be like what we just experienced. So this is what I always look at as a do-it-yourself cold air type of situation, where the upper support and the dynamics would probably generate the atmosphere to be cold enough for snow in some places. This is also different because I think this will just get carried along over time. You can see actually makes a nice little storm, 993 low Friday evening, and it moves it out to the east-northeast. The European has, these maps here with the European, with what we're allowed to see, are kind of tricky. So, they can be a little deceptive. But it has a low that's a little more tucked into the coast. And in fact, when I looked at the maps that I can see with regards to the European that go every 6 hours, it does generate precipitation along the coast. Up to actually gives between half an inch and an inch of precipitation for much of southern New England, New York City, Long Island, central and southern New Jersey, and points south and west, while it gives lesser amounts as you go north and northwest. So my conclusion from all of this is that, is there the possibility of something happening? Sure. But it's going to hinge on how this northern stream system and this southern stream system react to each other. If each one stays separate, then it's probable that we won't see much of anything. However, the models seem to be trending toward the idea that this may be more of a phase situation, and that there might be a threat here late this week. I'm going to wait, of course, until tomorrow. It's Monday. As I said, my brain is fried, so I'm not sure all of this is actually sinking in, although it's attempting to. And we will look at this again tomorrow morning and see what the overnight models show for our area. In the meantime, keep digging out. At least we have a couple of days with not much happening and temperatures that are going to moderate and help in the snow melt.